Alright, hello there everyone and welcome to my Eruption of Shame. Today we have, same as we always do, Humble Choice and Amazon. Amazon was a little bit late off the mark this time around, but Humble Bundle is right on task, so we've got that here, which is nice. So, as you can see, a series of different games. Now, I will say right off the bat, this is an interesting one for me personally. Because 3 of these games are games I've backed on Kickstarter. So if you're a Kickstarter backer, you might find yourself maybe not liking this bundle very much, because it's got a lot of doubling up with projects you may have backed over the years. That being said, it's never a bad thing to be able to give out a project to someone else and be like, hey, here's a game for you. So I suppose that is fine. Now, another thing you'll notice straight away is this Project Winter. That was released recently as part of the Jingle Jam. So if you picked up the Jingle Jam, you probably already own that. So that one's like right out there as well. Apart from that though, this is the only really cheap and nasty game. I say cheap and nasty, I mean the sort of game that sells for like 75 cents. The rest of them, it seems like a pretty interesting sort of a setup really. But, let's click in. I will probably still get this bundle just because I really want Mafia Definitive Edition. I've been humming and hawing about buying it now for ages because I love the original and I've really been looking forward to giving this new one a go. Mafia is a fantastic game and, like, yeah, why wouldn't you, basically? Mafia, the only problem I have with Mafia is they changed the voice actor. So if you've ever played the original, this is not your voice actor.
Don Salieri wants you to know that he's very grateful. So if you ever need anything, maybe a loan, or some honest work, don't hesitate to ask. Don doesn't forget his friends.
If you stay straight with me, you're gonna be living the high life, Tom.
Hey, Tommy!
But you abuse my trust.
Our business has rules.
We do not allow mad dogs to run wild in our neighborhood.
This is the way this city works!
If you cross Salieri and his boys, you're dead.
Your neck's gotta be aching from all that looking over your shoulder you're doing.
You, Tommy, you could run this town someday.
Tom, don't do nothing you don't want to be remembered for, you hear me?
Probably too late for that.
So yeah, Mafia as a game is actually really, really cool. You play a taxi driver who gets inadvertently hooked up into the mob as a driver for them. Of course, you don't just do driving, you also get a little bit, your hands wet, hands dirty. Now, that being said, there's a bunch of really interesting things here, lots of really hard things, like the racing sequence, where you've got this old racer car you need to keep in perfect condition to get it to the racetrack, and then later you have to do the race, which is even worse. But apart from that, this game it's endearing, it's fun, and the remake looks beautiful and really cool, so it's been well received, and that's a good sign. It's definitely more than just a crappy remaster you see. Trust me, the original game did not look anything nearly as pretty as this. And clearly they've re-voice acted the whole thing because they changed one of the voice actors. So, all in all, the Mafia Definitive Edition is one of those rare times where the definitive actually means definitive. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's what I'm really looking forward to. The next game, though... This is one I backed on Kickstarter. So it's a RTS, old school RTS, where basically you're playing as the I think it's the Germans or the Allies basically, but it's in a world where it's still on my mountain of shame if you can't tell. It's in a world where there are giant mechs. It's a very steampunky aesthetic, maybe diesel punk. Which is a much rarer subgenre of it. It's a diesel-punky sort of world. And essentially, you have massive battles with these mechs. Games that you can compare it to are things like Total Annihilation, because it is very similar to Total Annihilation in that regards. But obviously, yeah, it's got base building, it's got, you know, all the classic stuff you need. I don't mind getting a second copy of this though, because if I could probably get it to my dad. He loves this sort of stuff, and he already owns my copy through family sharing. But if he owns his own copy, then A, we could play together, and B, he could download and buy all the DLC, which I'm sure he'd want to do. So that's another thing. Was there a trailer for this one? Can't see one. So yeah, but yeah, Iron Harvest. It's quite cool. Quite cool. Old school. It's story based. It's got a story based campaign to it. Yeah, really cool little game. Obviously, Project Winter we've looked at before through the Jingle Jam. It is a multiplayer game, so yay, I guess. I guess it's one reason why having a second key being given out so shortly is quite good. You can give it to your friends and hopefully play with them. It is a multiplayer game though, so just keep that in mind. So yay. Rebel Corps. Now, I hadn't actually heard of this one before, so this is another good pickup in my mind. It's a spin-off game from This Is the Police, which is interesting, where you apparently seem to play, well, not the police. Now, it says here, it's turn-based tactical, which seems to be another sort of XCOM style game. Honestly, it's the aesthetic and the musical stylings of This Is the Police were fantastic. So I'm sort of hoping this would be pretty good.
Unforgiving.
Let's look at the trailer.
Rebel Cops. Rebel Cops
Okay, so
is
you
a
are
spin-off
still
game
playing
from the
Police.
series This Is the Police, which is completely geared toward turn-based tactical operations. After a mysterious mafia boss named Victor Zuev captured the town of Ripton, a small group of officers didn't want to serve the new criminal power and went underground. Your task is to take down the Zuev empire and place him under arrest. But getting to him will not be easy. Criminals of every stripe stand in your way. Not to mention the official police, your former colleagues, now serving their new master.
That sounds pretty cool.
Your cops no longer drive patrol cars, and they've moved from the police station into a rotten cabin in the woods. But they're still loyal to their oath to protect the law. So they should try to arrest the criminals, not kill them. You have at your disposal an arsenal of non-lethal weapons and as well as
they just gonna take him back to that tiny
you can
hut?
unlock as you upgrade your rebels. But what if violence seems inevitable?
Knock, knock!
Well, then things aren't so simple. Rebel Cops respects the traditions of the genre, but introduces one fundamental change: no hit points. When someone is shot, they'll bleed out quickly, and getting a bullet in the head means instant death.
Oh, lovely.
Combating organized crime requires teamwork. Without careful planning, competently occupied positions, and coordinated action of the whole group, you'll lose half your squad in the first real skirmish.
Ouch! That hurts more than I thought.
When Zuev appeared on the scene, the town became impoverished. Most of the major businessmen went down on their knees before him, and are now working to illegally enrich his empire. So next time you're conducting an operation in the lair of another corrupt scumbag, don't forget to look around. You're sure to fill your pockets with all sorts of valuables. Some you might be able to sell for a profit on the black market, and you desperately need the money. Guns, ammo, batons, knives, tasers, grenades, body armor and helmets, first aid kits, lockpicks, you name it. Without proper supplies, you won't be able to handle a single operation.
Put the hands behind your back, jerk. Hands where I can see them.
Fortunately, you'll come across useful stuff on your missions. Rebel Cops doesn't just feature compact operations where you need to fight for every inch of space, but also large open locations to explore, the sandbox levels. Search every room, break into safes and vaults, and you'll be rewarded.
Well,
Cool.
hello there.
A guerrilla
Hey.
war is
I think I'll keep it there. It's a pretty long little thing here, but I gotta say, that sounds really cool. Like, I can definitely see that being on my mountain quite easily. That sounds fantastic. Alright, Rustler. This is another Kickstarter game. It is basically Grand Theft Horse is how it was described. It's still on my Mountain of Shame, as I've only played a small section of the prologue so far, but it's been fairly well received so far. And hey, it might be a good thing in general. I don't think it's got multiplayer though, so yeah. I mean, you can already see it, right? It's definitely this GTA. The original, sorry. I hope they have a talkback radio, that'd be great. I feel like I'd be terrible in this game, but you know what? It seems fine. So yeah, this is another game I backed on Kickstarter. I won't say what tier I backed at, but still, it was quite sizable. And essentially, I still haven't played it. I really should, and here it is. So fair enough. Maybe I should give it to a friend to play. Yeah, I've got a friend who doesn't like space. Anyway. I have no idea what this one is, but it appeared to be when I looked at it very briefly before, it appeared to be some sort of choose your own adventure sort of game. So that's always good, a little bit of adventure game sort of thing. I don't have anything from this series already, I don't believe. So it's a nice random surprise. I don't know if it's any good or not. It's been well received, so maybe it's similar to that, West of Loathing sort of thing. Quite cool. Farmer's Dynasty. This is one I had on my wishlist for a short period of time, and then removed from my wishlist and added it to my wishlist. I wasn't sure if it was a full farming game, or if it was more of a simulation game, and I'm still not sure. So it'd be interesting to work out what the hell this game is. That being said, I do like farming games not as a rule, but just in general. So yeah, why not? Between the Stars, yet another game that I backed on Kickstarter. It is still in early access, however, so a little bit not concerning, but odd that they're going into Humble so quickly. So not entirely sure what's happening there, but yeah, it's got the ability to equip your ship, travel through the universe, do space trading, and a bunch of other interesting stuff there. So it was fairly well received. It looks like its ratings maybe either dropping or staying stagnant now at the moment. However, there's probably a lot of people sitting on it like me who just haven't played it. Whether it gets to the level of something like Everspace, I don't know. And I really had a good time with that when I gave it a go on my Mountain of Shame. Retro Wave. Speaking of Mountain of Shame, this is a game that I did actually do in the Mountain of Shame. From memory, it was alright, I suppose. I did play it for a little bit, and it was alright, I guess. I played for a few levels. It didn't really grab me as much as I was hoping, because obviously it doesn't have any real storyline. It's just got singular races. But, if that's what you like, if you look at the video and think, hey, yeah, this is pretty good, that's fine. Keep in mind, however, this game is one that goes very, 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 very cheap sometimes. So if you're like me and buy a bunch of random cheap games, you may already own this game too. Okay, next one and probably last one is Midnight Protocol, action indie RPG strategy game. I don't know what this is, but it looks like it's a hacking style game, similar to Uplink, though a little bit, probably a little bit more accessible, because like Uplink and such required you to actually do some basic hacking. Well, not really, but like the idea of hacking to really do anything. Whereas this one seems like it's more a graphical view of hacking. So I don't know. It looks quite cool. will it be? I don't know, but I'm quite happy to have another tactical RPG included on my mountain, aren't you? So yeah, that is the Humble Bundle. So all things considered, if I didn't have my mountain, this would be a hard one for me. Because I already own or already have access to like a good half of the games. Like exactly a half of the games I already have access to. So I think I would have still claimed it just because of Mafia. And because I know I could find a home for Rustler and Einhives quite easily. So yeah, no, quite interesting, all things considered. Alright. Of course, we don't just stick at the Humble Bundles, we also look at the Prime games. Now, the Prime games for this month continue to actually shine. Like, they're actually doing quite good stuff, but not just are the bonus games good this time round, but also some of these games are pretty good looking too. So let's go have a look at some of those. So the first one is probably doesn't require anything in the way of an introduction. It's Star Wars Jedi Order, the Jedi Fallen Order. This is not KOTOR. It is not as good as KOTOR in my opinion, because obviously KOTOR has like RPG mechanics and such, and well, RPG mechanics make a difference. It is an action game with similar sort of Dark Souls-esque combat. Now, I have played this already, and I didn't go through the whole thing, because while the storyline was good, it wasn't good enough to grab me. It wasn't like Guardians. Let's just put it that way. Guardians, when I played it, kept playing it, I just completely just crushed it, because it was a joy to play it every moment. This one can be a bit of a slog. It's got that Dark Souls-esque combat, which can often be a little bit slow and stuff. But that being said, it's a really good game that I do like the fact it exists. The fact it's a completely single-player Star Wars game is quite good. It gives me some hope for some future, more deeper games in the future. So yeah, pretty good pickup for Amazon Prime, given that most people just get Amazon Prime for the free shipping and maybe the Twitch subscriptions. Next one is Total War Warhammer. Now, I've recently actually gotten this one off my mountain, though you won't see it for a couple of weeks yet, because I'm a little bit far ahead at the moment. But Total War, not Warhammer, I got Total War Troy Saga. Total War and I have a pretty, shall we say, we have a pretty complicated history, so to speak. That being said, I'm always willing to give it a go. I love Warhammer, so why wouldn't I? I have a friend who has played tons of Warhammer Total War. Like, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of hours, so it can't be that terrible. Still a good pickup for Amazon. The final of the key-based games, the games that give you a key, World War Z Aftermath, or World War Z Aftermath. The ultimate co-op zombie shooter. Well, it says co-op, which means that realistically, as long as one of your friends has Amazon Prime, you'll probably be fairly good on that. But yeah, no, it looks all right. I don't have any real opinion on it, but there it is. Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy Remastered. This is the first of the game titles to be kept directly on the Amazon app. Keeping in mind you get to keep that even if you quit Amazon Prime. Indigo Prophecy was on my wish list, I believe. Yeah. I don't know what it is or whether it's any good or not. But, I mean, hey, it's very positively received. Only $2 on Steam, though, so, like, maybe you already own it. Maybe, you know, you might want it on Steam instead, so you can... Well, there's actually no achievement. So, yeah, maybe you want it for the team achievements. I don't know. But that's an option. World Rally Champion 7. This is, unfortunately, a very, very old game in a racing game genre. It's not the oldest, but it does go a lot further up than 7 nowadays. Because when you look up WRC, it goes all the way up to 10. So it goes all the way up to 10, which probably means this is going to be a little bit outdated at this point. It's still got a fairly good review system. It was only released in 2017 on Steam, so maybe they're just, I don't know. I have no idea if this is going to be any good. If you see all the games I've played when it comes to these sort of racing games, there's a very specific racing game I was happy with and a very specific one I'm not. And I'm thinking this is probably more likely to be a simulation, which is one I previously do not generally like when it comes to racing, so meh. Abandoned Ship, however, was on my wish list as well. It is basically a Age of Sails combat game with ships. I don't see anything wrong with this. As long as it's got some sort of town we can upgrade and change things, which it looks like it may, this could be a really interesting game. That being said, it's recently dropped into mixed, so your mileage may vary. Paper Beast. Now, this one looks really, really quite cool. It's an adventure game, exploration game, apparently based in a world with a bunch of paper animals, which is interesting and odd, and I am totally here for it. It's got a beautiful aesthetic, and well, a fascinating idea. So this is one I'm actually really looking forward to playing. So that one I feel like is a good pickup for Amazon Prime. In Other Waters, this one I'm not so sure about. It says it is a sci-fi story, which is good. It says indie exploration, but the UI looks very odd. So, in Other Waters, you play a xenobiologist for a beautiful, mysterious alien ocean. A non-violent sci-fi story enters a world of wonder, fear, and vulnerability, unraveling the history and ecology of an impossible planet. What will you discover? So yeah, I mean, why not? It's one of those, one thing Amazon seems to be really good at is just releasing things, is adding things which you otherwise wouldn't really see or play, because they often add just random shit in there, and it's quite cool. Now, this last one is good, but it's also got some problems with it. So, 2 Point Hospital. It's a fantastic game. It takes Theme Hospital and runs with it. The thing is, if you love Theme Hospital and you love this sort of game, you're probably not best getting it on Amazon Prime. Obviously, you're going to get it anyway, but think of this as a demo, okay? And the reason I say this is 2 Point Hospital has released a lot of DLC. We're talking a lot of DLC. Now, some of them are kind of useless, like the Retro Items Pack and the Exhibition Items Pack. But a lot of them are full expansion packs, like the Stitch of Time, which adds a whole new area with several missions. And a whole bunch more of this game. And this is the thing. This is why this game is so interesting to me.
At 2 Point Hospital, over 52% of our patients believe they leave healthier than when they arrived. Our precisely calibrated equipment is operated by compassionate healthcare practitioners, many of whom have even been to medical school or watched ER. If you suffer from turtle head, let us ease your worries and noggin gently out of your body. Chest infection is no laughing matter. Put your trust and oversized shoes in our capable hands. We're building a brighter, safer future, and hardly anything will stand in our way. You deserve the best. So join us at 2 Point Hospital. We're open for new staff, new patients, and a new you. Can I go play golf yet? I'm teeing off at 3.
So yeah, while the base game is good, basically this game, buying on Amazon means you have no way of ever getting the DLC if you want them. I'm not saying you necessarily will definitely want this DLC. It's true, not everyone likes DLC. However, it's nice to have the option, especially when all the DLC does is adds more to what you love. It adds more wacky illnesses, it adds more machines, whatever. But if you do end up just playing the base game, there's still a number of story missions there and a couple of sandboxing matches. It's exactly the same as Theme Hospital. I think the biggest problem I had with it when I played it was that essentially the number of people you get in the door goes up so dramatically fast that you end up losing just because, you know, there's too many people. So if there was some way to limit the number of people who come to the hospital, that would be good. Otherwise, it's kind of impossible to keep up with the, or it used to be impossible to keep up with the stream of customers. It's possible they've fixed that by now, but yeah. Either way, overall, once again, I think that the Amazon Prime selection has beaten Humble. Like, there was 1 or 2 games I was looking forward to in the Humble, sure, but I think everything else aside, the Amazon game selection this month seems better. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Do you think that which of these bundles are you going to get? Oh, I mean, you're getting the Humble, you're getting the Prime if you own it anyway. But which of these bundles do you think is the best? Which of these games have you been looking forward to? Have been on your wish lists? Is anyone here pausing because, hey, maybe you're in a similar situation to me, having owned a lot of these games? What is your option? What are you thinking here? Either way, thank you for joining me today. This has been my eruption of shame. Actually, there's one more thing I want to show you first. So, alright, so the final thing I just want to show you is how many games that I've managed to acquire over the last month. There's been a lot of them. Way too many of them, to be honest. But, yeah. So, first off, I bought a bunch of games randomly from Humble, as I usually do, because they were having a sale, and I bought a bunch of random stuff. Then the Steam winter sale happened, and I bought some more games. Some I bought because I saw it on my friend's wish list. Some I bought just because they were on my wish list. Others I just purchased because I could. So as you can see, there's a lot of new games that's been added to this list. I actually want to try out Honey Pot, so you might actually see a shameless dive into Honey Pot. So I actually play the rest of it, so that's there. But everything else here, like, there's been a bunch of games given out for free. There's been a bunch of games I bought very cheaply. Some games which I'm not even sure I'll be able to play on the channel, but without copious quantities of censoring and such. But, you know. And this random one I claimed the other day, Rabbit of Destiny, which looks terrible, and I could claim it on Xbox for some reason. I didn't even know if I'm going to be able to play that game, but you know what? It's fine, I suppose. So yeah, a lot of games were added in this month, which makes sense. You know, it's Christmas time. You know, you've got gift cards coming in from various places. You know, you've got people who are giving gifts, and you've got to give gifts and all sorts of jazz like that, I suppose. Oh yeah, that's another board game. I don't think I'm going to play that one. I just jokingly claimed it because I saw it come on Free Game Findings. Apparently DL site it's a porn site, and essentially it releases free games every month. The current one looks like shit. I mean, so did that one, to be honest. That one also looks like shit. But anyway. Point is, we have a bunch of new games coming, and I hope you'll join me for my random things. Now, there's a lot of games that haven't came out yet that I've currently still been trying to go through. So I'm not going to show you too much of what's coming up, and a lot of these have been changed in order because of the Subnautica and the Stellaris series interacting with things. But where are we? Yeah, see, that one, Dark Eyes of Satnav, have been moved forward a few times. But yeah, basically, there are a bunch of games incoming still to play, and I'm going to be rolling a few more shortly because I've just finished recording the last of the ones I've rolled. So thank you for joining me. This has been my eruption of shame. So yeah, see you next time. Bye.